Welcome to episode 32. 32. Can't believe it. Of the Anno Domini podcast. And good morning to you. Good morning to your family. And I hope you had a wonderful weekend. And I really hope in my heart that you have been close to the Lord in such nightmarish days as we have been living today. In the United States of America, and not only here, all across the world. I hope that your heart is tuned into God's heart and solidly firmed in His Word. And I hope the Holy Spirit is the one that guides you into all the truth in dark times as we are living. And I'm mentioning nightmare and dark times because of everything that's going on in our nation right now. It looks like everything is going downhill. A lot of folks out there super worried and concerned of what's coming in our horizon, trying to make sense, excuse me, trying to make sense of what is going on in the world. I have not been able to see, and probably we're not going to see anybody right now making sense of everything that's going on right now, because, as I have been repeating over and over again, we are in uncharted waters. This is uncharted territory. In American history, close to 250 years now since the independence of the American colonies, 248 years ago, we have not been in a moment such as this. Well, I was going to talk about everything that's going on, but I know you know what's going on. Yesterday, I would say last night, but it was yesterday in the morning, Sunday morning, we had a tweet coming out of the Oval Office, right? Hypothetically, Oval Office, just posting a letter from President Biden and saying that he's dropping out of the race, the presidential race 2024, endorsing Kamala Harris, and saying that he will serve the remaining of his time until January 2025. And then whoever the candidate is that wins the election, he is going to serve until 2025, and then he's going to get out. So there's a lot of questions right now if he wrote the letter. There's a lot of questions right now if he signed the letter. That's not my intent today. I will let the experts and the specialists to talk about that. My purpose today is to start this week with a series that I named, and I'm bringing here to your screen, What Happens If Donald Trump Wins Another Term, because this is what is clearly in front of us right now. Even world leaders have started already to deal with this reality and somehow started talking about this, a new term for President Trump, in what would be the re-election bid or a re-election victory, right? On November the 5th. So everything can happen, and everything and anything may happen and change the whole scenario, because again, we are not living in normal times. These are absolutely not normal times. And what I wanted to do this week is to bring to your attention a couple of the books that I have been reading. And again, I want to mention that these books are not Christian books. They are not theological books. They are academic and professional books from people that have been looking at what's going on right now around the world, not only in the United States of America, this empire that still is the most powerful nation in the planet, but they are looking at other countries of the world. They are looking at the geopolitical movements For example, the formation of this new so-called BRICS, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, that aligned, 8 or 10 years ago. And now they are aggressively coming after the US dollar and just doing international trade among themselves in their currency or directly in gold. And now we have not only these 5 countries, but we have a list of 27 countries that have already aligned with the BRICS methodology and mindset, which is to dump the US dollar in international trade processes. So these people, and I am quoting one of them right now specifically, Peter Zion. He is a historian and he is an economist, and he has been looking at all of that and trying to analyze all the movements that are happening from the United States toward the nations and toward the nations, or from the nations toward the United States, the international trade between America and BRICS and other countries of the world, especially China. And he has been saying things that are very singular. Not many folks are saying that. Not many specialists or experts have been predicting what he has been predicting. And one of the things is that he has been saying is, well, we believe, and many believe, that China is going to be the next power, global power. And he says that is not the case at all. And he is going to tell us why. And I'm going to bring to your attention this week why he thinks so and why I believe that he is somehow, can't say right, because nobody is right at this point in history. But at least this is what my heart and my eyes, my mind sees. This is what my perception and my academic, professional, and even spiritual conclusions are right now. So without further ado, I would like to bring to your attention this topic on what happens if Trump wins and makes it on November the 5th, and if he is inaugurated on January 20th, 2025. Let's remember that Trump is facing 91 charges. Nothing changed. So he suffered an assassination attempt that is being investigated, not the way many Americans wanted, but it's being investigated. A result is coming out sooner or later, but I'm taking that out of the equation. That's not in my equation here. The equation is we are exactly on the same place. Trump is right now still facing 91 charges across 4 jurisdictional courts, 4 federal felony charges in DC related to election and 2020 election and January 6th, 40 federal felonies out of Florida related to his classified documents, the Mar-a-Lago raid, and the classified documents that he was not supposed to bring with him after he left the White House, that Judge Aileen Cannon, the judge responsible for the case, the federal judge appointed by Trump, just tossed out, just removed, just terminated. But it's being appealed. So the case in Florida ended, but it did not end completely and officially because the DOJ, Jack Smith, appealed her decision to, if I'm not mistaken, the 11th Circuit in Florida. So we are not there yet. They have not decided on the case. So for all matters related to his charges, he still has 40 federal felony charges in Florida pending. In Georgia, related to the 2020 election, there are 13 state felony charges, and we now have the 18th of September deadline for his sentencing on the hush money, the so-called hush money charges, 34 state felony charges out of Manhattan, New York. So this is what we have right now. The president, or the candidate that is ahead in all polls against Joe Biden, ahead on all polls against Kamala Harris, probably the one that is going to be elected in November. I mean, again, anything may happen between now and then, but right now, as I talk to you, today is the 22nd of July, 2024. Everything points to the fact that he is going to win this election. So that is the guy that is running right now. Like, everybody thought that they were going to destroy him with this. And the more they beat him, the more they come after him, the more they attack him. It's like many people have been calling him the Godzilla, right? The more nuclear weapons you throw at him, that nuclear weapon that was supposed to destroy him empowers, emboldens him. And that's where we are right now. So, as a start today, I would like to read to you 3 thoughts that I have been having about Trump making it all the way back to the White House. And what are the 3? These are 3, of course, there are more. But just to open this week's series, I would like to bring to your attention and submit to your thoughts, so you can give me a feedback, and we can discuss this, because I believe this is important right now. Excuse me. So what happens if Trump goes back to the White House? Number 1, I believe that if Trump becomes president again, his administration will be under siege by dozens and dozens of legal challenges that could slow down his legislative and policy priorities. Trump and his team will have to devote lots of energy and resources to combating the weaponization of the legal system. And this could hamper his ability to perform his duties effectively. By the way, we saw that. We saw that between 2017, when he was inaugurated, January 20th, 2017, until January 20th, midday 2020. It was bomb after bomb after bomb, attack after attack. And he was just not able to fully accomplish his platform. And then COVID hit the world. For many right now, it's believed that it was a biological weapon. So whatever happened there, he was not able to do everything he was supposed to do, or that he had planned to do. He did a lot, but he did not do a lot either. So this may happen again. And if he is elected and confirmed on January 20th, 2025, probably we are going to be dealing with that in a much more aggressive way. Many folks out there right now are saying that, well, now he knows the machinery on the inside, and now he would not allow that to happen. Now he would bring to the table, and he would bring to his cabinet specifically people that would know how to fight that well. But even so, that would not stop the attacks. The attacks would keep coming. So this would be my number 1 thought. And this is sort of classic thought. This is not a surprise, should not come out as a surprise, should not shock anybody by now. This is common sense. If he becomes president again, he is going to be under siege, perhaps for 4 more years. And this is something that should make us all stop and think about what is coming in our horizon. And probably this is going to be much more intense than it was between 2017 and 2020. The second thing that most probably is going to happen as soon as he sits on the resolute desk inside of the Oval Office, White House, is that an increased polarization will result from continued efforts to prosecute him again, all the legal attacks while he's in office. The Democrats and their close friends and allies and the activist media will no doubt freak out if Trump is reelected. They will once again go full-blown Orange Man bad, the Hitler thing, and in their efforts to disrupt his presidency. Guys, I was, as many of you know, I was in Washington, D.C. for his first inauguration on January 20th, 2017. 2017. I was there. Everything that you guys saw on videos, Antifa and Black Lives Matter beating people, beating Trump supporters, beating families, beating older folks, elderlies, including children, scaring the bejeeters of children around the streets of Washington, D.C. And then, as soon as he is inaugurated at 12:01 on that day, January 20th, 2017, Antifa Black Lives Matter unleashed their hounds on downtown Washington, D.C. And I was there. I was going back to my hotel when I saw them throwing Molotov cocktails inside of cars and burning stores and breaking every single piece of glass that was in front of them. The confrontations with police officers. I mean, it was hell on earth. It's what, like, the demons of hell came out and just destroyed downtown Washington, D.C., a beautiful city, beautiful and organized and clean streets back then. This is 7 years ago. And it became a battleground. It became chaos. It became hell. So we know what they are willing to do and to what extent they are willing to do things and what they're capable of doing. And I believe that that is going to happen again. This is just common sense. I might be wrong, but my common sense, our common sense, just points out that this is a massive possibility, right? They will freak out and they will spur and they will inspire and motivate violence by saying anything. He is not my president. Now we are the resistance. And that is what we were throughout his 4 years. And probably that is coming again. The third thought that I have about a potential win of Donald Trump on November the 5th and inauguration on January 20th, 2025 is this. It is certain that Democrats and anti-Trump Republicans will exploit his legal woes to launch another impeachment process. They did that twice. And well, let me keep reading because I was going to explain it before I read. Let me do that first. It would not be surprising to see multiple attempts to impeach Trump, even with a majority in both chambers of Congress. Even if Trump has a majority, they will start impeachment processes, even knowing that they are not going to win. But now, very much inspired by the possibility of rhino Republicans in name only, to come to their side and to, as Liz Cheney did, as Adam Kinzinger did, and get enough names to come to their side to start impeachment processes. If Democrats, by the way, or however, if Democrats manage to regain control of both chambers, even if they regain control of only the House, they will immediately vote to remove Trump on the first week after his election, which would further exacerbate political tensions. So we know that that is probably what is going to happen. And again, everything that I'm telling you right now is just common sense. Why? Because we saw that happen before, right? This is what we saw happen in between 2017 and 2020 when he left. And then all the legal attacks, the weaponization of the judicial area, the judicial power against him for 4 years. And this is going on now ever since he came down on that escalator of Trump Tower, New York City in 2015. So they've been doing this for a long time, and they are not going to stop doing this. Now, last week or 2 weeks ago, we had an escalation. We have an upgrade of all of the attempts against him, all of the attacks and violence against him. Now they're not only talking about things, they literally, and I'm saying I'm not accusing them. I'm just saying that they're condoning it, because they're not saying anything to defend Trump or to say how despicable an assassination attempt against a candidate for the president of the United States, presidency of the United States is. They're not calling that out at all. So I'm not saying that they did it at all by any stretch of my imagination here, but they are condoning it for not talking about it, which means that they're okay with it, right? As long as it's the other guy, not their guy, they're okay with it. So they are going to do, or they may do, they have the potential of doing harms in areas that we not even think about. So there are folks out there right now saying that Trump should not even count on the support of the Secret Service. He should hire private security for the reasons that about what we saw 2 weeks ago. We see now that somehow the Secret Service has been compromised. So with all that, these are the three major thoughts that have been in my mind right now. In case Trump wins and in case he ascends again to the highest position of power in this nation, which is the head of the executive power, and is installed once again as the president of these United States of America, all we know is that we have tough times ahead. So starting tomorrow, I am going to be bringing to this conversation Peter Zion's book and some other books, but his especially. And his book is called The End of Globalization, or The End of the World is Just the Beginning. And he is focusing on the end of globalization by the concept that Trump is a nationalist at heart. What he is saying in the book, and as you will see in the series throughout this week, unless something changes the subject here, and I bring another topic to your attention on the podcast. But Trump is a nationalist. We all know that now. He's talking about make America great again. He's talking about America first again. So Peter Zion is analyzing that on the lenses of the geopolitical wars around the globe. And he is saying, well, pretty much the summary of his book is 500-page book is, if Trump is reinstalled, if Trump is reelected, if Trump goes back to the White House and formally is made the president of the United States again, the United States is going to retract. The United States is going to withdraw from many international treaties, including potentially the United Nations and NATO. So the countries out there will be on their own for the first time after 70 years. And 70 years goes back to the end of the Second World War, World War II. That the United States was supposed to be the police of the world, or as he says, the Coast Guard of the world. So that is what I'm going to be talking about starting tomorrow. How America is going to be looking at much more to herself, to inside, not outside anymore. And how this movement of internalization of public policies, paying attention to America first, is going to affect countries out there and how they will realign geopolitically between themselves and also between the United States of America, or with the United States of America. So tough times ahead. The Lord is with us. We have no fear of the future because we know in whose hands we rest. So may the Lord bless you, and I hope to see you tomorrow for this series, chapter 2 or episode 2 of this series on what's coming in our horizon. God bless you. See you there.